morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I want to talk about 5 tips for prioritizing self-care. I know I've talked about how important self-care is on more than one occasion. And one of the things that often people say whenever I speak of self-care is how they don't have time, how things get in the way. That's why today I want to talk about ways or tips to help you prioritize your self-care. But before I get into that, I want to take a quick moment and say, if you are subscribed, thank you so much for being a part of our wonderful world. If you're not yet subscribed, please take a moment and click the subscribe button below so that you can become a part of this wonderful world of ours. And remember to tick the bell so that you are notified when I post new videos so you don't miss anything. And of course, if you'd like to purchase 1 or 3 of my books, there's also a link below that will take you to a site that shows you all your different options of places where you can get 1 or 3 of my books. Okay, so let's get back. The first thing is to identify your self-care needs. Self-care is not the same for everyone. Self-care is personal. So you need to realize what it is that you need that helps you take that time and refuel and relax and reset, because it's not the same for everyone. For one person, self-care is spending a day at home reading a good book. Whereas for someone else, self-care is going out into maybe to the gym or to somewhere and beat out some of that the stress from the week. Regardless of what self-care is for you, it's important that you figure out what your self-care needs are. If you have energy that you need to release, or if it is that you need to take a moment of quiet, or if you need to spend time laughing, whatever it is, figure out what kind of things that you can do, that you need to do in order for you to feel rejuvenated, in order for you to feel like you have been refueled, in order to get your tank back on full. 2, create a list of activities that fulfill your self-care needs. Because again, if you decide, okay, for self-care, you need to release energy. What activities do you need to engage in order to help you release that energy? If you need moments of quiet, if you need time to yourself, create a list of activities that you can do, things that you can engage in that will meet the needs that you have identified. It's not enough to know what you need. It's important that you have, ready to go list. The reason I like it so much is that sometimes we don't have a whole bunch of time to take care of our self-care needs. And if you're sitting there figuring out, okay, what should I do? Where would I go? What can I do? By the time you go through that process, the time that you would have had for self-care may be gone. The time that you set aside for self-care may be gone. So make sure that you have at least a few things on your list. Even I would prefer that the list is written, but even if it's not written, at least have some type of a list that tells you, okay, these are my self-care activities. And of course, brings me to the next one, schedule it. Most people don't have time. There are so many things going on in our lives throughout the week because of work, because of family, because of pretty much all the obligations of the week. So the ideal way to make sure that you get your self-care needs met is to schedule it, because things come up. Things show up, even though you think, okay, you know what, Friday, I can do Friday, or I will find time. We always say we're going to find time, but the time that you're going to find always somehow ends up getting taken up by some other obligation, some other commitment. Schedule it. And when you schedule it, I tell people, schedule it and treat it as one of the most important appointments on your agenda. The way you would treat an appointment with the president of your company, with your most important client. That's how you should be treating your self-care time once you schedule it. 4, making sure that self-care is regular and consistent. When it's regular and consistent, then you can schedule increments. But sometimes what people do is that they will go a month, maybe weeks, or however long, and don't take the time to engage in self-care and think that, well, on such and such a day, 3 months from now, when I'm done, or when the world slows down for a little bit, which it never does, I'm going to have a whole bunch of time. It doesn't work that way. because you generally don't end up having all that time. Yes, maybe you have a vacation from work once a couple times a year, but that's not enough. In order to make self-care really work, it needs to be regular and it needs to be consistent. Because when you make it regular and when you make it consistent, what tends to happen is that your body and the people, or as well as the people around you, start to get used to the idea that, oh, on Saturday, mom reads. On Sunday, dad does XYZ. And I mean, there are people in our lives that we know it's like, okay, yeah, don't bother this person because during that hour they're golfing, they're doing this, they're doing that, whatever it is that the self-care thing is. So when it is regular and when it is consistent, people will know not to bother you. But the most important part of it is that you will start planning for it. It will be expected and you will start respecting it a lot more because, it's a regular part of what you do. 5. Is that 5? Yeah. Don't apologize for or ask permission to engage in self-care. Sometimes people have it, will schedule their self-care day or their self-care activities, and they'll feel like they're taking away from time other people need from them. Or sometimes we will ask. Let me tell you, if you're gonna ask, I'm not there where you're gonna ask. I'm not the person you're asking, but I can pretty much guarantee you most of the time the answer is not right now. Now's not a good time. Many people will always find a reason to ask you to push it back. So if you're going to ask permission, the answer a lot of times is going to be no. Don't ask permission. Don't apologize for needing the time, for wanting to take time to reset and refuel, because your body is not a machine, and even machines need to be maintained. Your body needs to be maintained. So don't apologize for it. If you need to take a day off to take care of you, take a day off to take care of you. If you need to spend a few hours by yourself every week, make sure you take that time and don't feel bad. Don't apologize. Don't feel that you're putting, all those reasons, all those things that society tells us to make us feel guilty about taking care of ourselves. Don't let that happen. Don't feel bad. Don't apologize. You're entitled to it. You have the right to take care of yourself, because if you do not take care of yourself, you can't even do all those things that everyone else expects from you anyway. Okay, so let me do a quick recap. 1, identify your self-care needs. Figure out what it is that your body needs, whether it's that you need quiet or you need an opportunity to release all the energy or the stress of the day, or whatever it is that you may need. Figure that out. 2, create a list of activities that will fulfill those your self-care needs. Whatever it is that you've identified, figure out, okay, how do I get that done? What kind of activities can I use to do that? Because when you finally get a minute, that's not when you want to have to, that's not when you want to be figuring out, okay, what can I do? 3, schedule it. When it's on your agenda, you're more likely to respect it. And when it's on your agenda, when people call and ask you to do something, you can say, hey, I'm busy. Look, I have stuff. And make it regular and consistent. The more regular it becomes, the more it becomes part of your day, the more it becomes part of your agenda, a part of what you do. So make sure that it is regular and be consistent with it so that your body and the people around you start to learn to respect and understand and just know that this is your time and you need it. Finally, don't apologize or ask permission. You have the right to take care of yourself. You are entitled to that. You need that. Your body requires that. And even if you did, you're also not able to take care of and do everything else that everybody needs from you if you're not taking care of yourself. So make sure that you take time and take care of yourself, because that is important. Okay. As always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please remember that there are professionals like myself who are available, able, and willing to help, and are even providing remote services who can assist with whatever you may have going on. So please figure out who those people are in your community so that if you need them, you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.